I mean, even the price of smartphones are just on the increase, and who knows what they're going to be in a couple of months. And
Oh,
uh,
Apple phones are going to be, first off, I
okay,
just have to disclose you're Apple, I'm Google.
eyes
Not
Apple,
neither one are necessarily better than the other, but
what?
Apple is greedy ass. The greedy
Yes,
ass.
they are. They are. I have to say, and the product is relatively the same from my first introduction. I was Android
Okay.
forever. I was, and I was satisfied. And
Yeah.
I told my sister I would never get the iPhone. And then
What do you have to say? There's no time to waste. Oh, what do you have to say? Together we lift our voices and let them ring, 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 ring,
that's
ring,
like go
ring.
time right now.
What happened?
That's like go time. When you hear what do you have to say, that music, it's like, okay.
Oh, what do you have to say? That's the name of our podcast, right?
That's what it is. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Wow, I'm glad to be in this space with you again. Wow, just a great day. How you feeling today?
I am running on empty. I only had about a 4.5 hours worth of sleep. I don't know. It was a lot of tossing and turning. But other than that, I'm not complaining too much.
Nice. Yeah,
No.
that's rough. I couldn't make it on four hours of sleep. I'm dragging on five. Six, yeah. 6 to 7 is really my sweet spot. So I feel you. Hopefully, this conversation will energize you and my listeners. Hey, chime in because we need a little boost today. And wow, glad you're here.
Well,
Right.
and this is a newer podcast. So
Right.
anybody that's listening, if you've tuned in for a minute or 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Wow.
please like and subscribe
Yeah,
and the clicking
right.
and everything they ask you to do because it helps.
Right. Right. And thank you for pushing play today. And what hey, it's about what do you have to say?
Yep.
You want to dive right into it?
Yep.
All righty. So, what do you have to say about ditching your smartphone for a dumb phone? So, it's just something that I have been thinking about for a while. What about ditching your smartphone? We know how attached we are for a dumb phone. So, and even why did this come up? Because, like many of us, you have, I don't know if does Android give you a notification about your screen time every week
Did you say a notification?
for your screen, how much your screen time was on your phone, on your device?
Uh-uh. I turned it
No.
off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Apple, I get one every Sunday. I'm sitting on the organ playing, and I get a notification, your screen time from probably from both devices, the Mac and my phone. And it's like sometimes it's 5 hours a day, average 5 hours a day, or sometimes it's really low to 3 hours a day. So
Is it your
I
phone and computer or just your phone?
I believe that it is both devices. And which I know that I'm not a lot on my Mac, so I'm not that much on my phone unless I'm listening to. Well, I commute, so I listen to podcasts on the way. So and videos from YouTube, so I know why my screen time is that high. And then sometimes it's just scrolling and watching videos, but it always kind of I want to decrease that screen time, and it got me to thinking: Do I want to ditch my smartphone for a dumb phone? So I did a little checking out, and
You are, I mean, you brought up the topic, but you really
yes,
considering
I
ditching a
I
smartphone?
I really had, I really am. I would say, just because of how we are attached to it, and how I am attached to it, and how many things and transactions that we do with that phone, and how
Mhm.
many, even in this short amount of time. that we have had iPhone or smartphones, how much it has increased in advance. You can pay on your phone. You have your credit card on your phone or your debit card on your phone, and you can swipe there. Or, I mean, there's GPS. How could we make it without GPS on our telephones? But we did. I mean, there was a time when I was printing off MapQuest. I don't know if you remember MapQuest. And I mean, and then how to read a map. I'm sure you know we're of that age where we learned how to navigate these highways and interstates and byways by a map. And that is it's a lost art to me. I believe that, we learning how to read a map, and that was fun. Taking road trips with our parents and so forth. But without we have GPS, we would be lost, um,
Lost.
completely lost. But ditching our smartphone, I'm not completely sold just yet,
Hmm.
but um, I think that we are, like I said before, we're just too attached to it. But there are some things that I'm doing to decrease my usage, uh, like turning off my ringer, so I don't have that. It makes me think of Pavlov's dog and the stimulus and response from it. So I don't
I
know how
can
you
attest
feel.
to your ringer being off.
you know, and it's off all the time. And I tell
Yeah.
people I do not turn it on unless I'm expecting someone to come in, call me and I'm return call, because that bell notification when that goes off, it gives us that automatically, that I don't know, it's a neurological response or something that I got to get to it. I got
Mhm.
to get to it, and we it conditions us, and I didn't want to have that much control over me. Um, and because if it dings, I'm going to it. And I'm sure a lot of people, how about you? If it dings, or do you have your ringer on or do you turn it off?
My 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 ringer is on. When
Okay.
I'm working, it is off. Or
Mhm.
what I will do is I'll keep my ringer on. I just put my phone on Bluetooth and put the speaker in another room so I can still hear it go off, but it's not interrupting what I'm doing in the room.
Okay. Okay, so do you automatically feel a little twinge to go and get it or to see who? Oh, don't you do you have can you see it on your watch, smartwatch?
Yeah, you're Apple, I'm Android, and I do have a smartwatch. That's the one thing I would like to turn off. I should turn the ringer off on my phone, but sometimes when you're out and you've left your phone, or having that notification or being able to hear it on your phone is
Mhm.
a good thing. I can turn off that ringer very quickly on my watch, but sometimes you're fumbling to turn off the ringer when it
Right.
rings inappropriately.
Inappropriate, right,
Yeah.
right,
But
right. It
but
is
no, I don't, when I hear it, I don't have that urge to go answer it. I just want to know when it's ringing so that I can get to it and answer, because my job entails, like, maybe some people might need me to get in touch with them.
right, right. And I can see that in case of your emergency or profession or whatever, have it on for those reasons. But I still just do not want to be tied to it. That and people will call me and they'll like, "You're not answering your phone." I'm like, "It's not. I don't have it glued to my hand." and 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 sometimes I do have my phone in my hand, but sometimes I don't. But I'm really conscious about, and I'm sure there's others. If you're out there and you're concerned about, how much screen time you're on. I think it's more, um, a lot more people think about that as they would like to admit
Yeah.
that we are tied to our phone because I mean, what activities do we do without it? Um, it's very few. Even if we're sitting at, do you scroll through your phone when you're at a stoplight?
You know what? I got challenged once. This has been 4 or 5 years ago. I was in a
Mhm.
training, um,
Mhm.
and you're meeting new people and you're just talking about things. And there was a point in time, even before the law was in,
Oh.
or maybe it was in California, not to have your phone.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like, I don't care. I'm going to drive, and I can drive and read my
It
text.
you
And I told somebody. I remember this this young woman telling me she challenged me on it, and from that day on, I was like, I will pick up my phone at a stoplight, but I put my phone down while I'm driving because she really impressed on me that it was dangerous, and it is dangerous.
it's
It's
dangerous.
it's dangerous.
It can happen in a split second. It's a
Mhm.
split. I mean, you put your head down, and I'm on the highway. So when I see that sign there, in fact, today, I'm just being more conscientious of not picking up my phone while I'm driving and
Mhm.
definitely not trying to text while I'm driving. But
Right.
I on the way home, there are signs, on the highway to guard against that. It said one text or one call can ruin it all or something, some kind of catchphrase like that. And I thought about, I mean, today when I was driving home and I thought about that and I was intentional, I had my phone plugged up and I put on a longer YouTube video to get me, farther down the road because I didn't want to pick it up because yesterday morning I was driving and there was a whole 18 wheeler in the median in in the middle of the road middle and it was turned over. I mean, a whole 18 wheeler with the cab all crushed in and everything, and I was like, in a split second, just what could happen. So being intentional, it's true. It can. And we're just I see people with their phones in their hands and they're driving. And it's just it's it can be a problem. But anyway, would you ditch your smartphone for a dumb phone? But we're gonna find out what a dumb phone is in that first clip, man. It talks about just how we are kind of attached so much to our devices, and we'll see.
Let me pull that up really quick here.
Okay, please do. Yes, yes, yes. Because I keep reaching for my phone, even when I'm out of boredom or um, just to feel. We need to be stimulated almost every second of it. But would you ditch your smartphone?
Do you ever look at your phone and be really honest with yourself about how much time you spend scrolling on this thing? And full disclaimer, I am just as guilty. And more of us, it seems, are craving a way to beat the addiction.
She said some interesting things. Just opening the video to, I keep reaching for my phone, and even even though I know that I don't have a notification, but I just reach for it out of habit. And it is like we have been trained. And the producers, even Android and Apple, are really smart on how to train us to use that device. And it's amazing, but there I think the guys' names are Daisy and Will and Daisy. In the second clip, they are from California, and they have a store that sells smartphones, and I mean, dumb phones and dumb technology or lighting technology. And
Let's
um
see if this comes up really quick.
okay, all righty.
There's a little tech glitch, and I'm not really sure, but
Okay, it's
let me see.
okay.
Let's start it again.
Daisy and
Okay.
Will, from their home in Los Angeles, have started up Dumb Wireless
You
to
remember
sell
that
low
camera,
tech
man?
devices and help people who want to revert back to
Oh,
a
look at
somewhat
those.
simpler
Flip
existence.
phone, really?
Oh
Wow.
man,
A lot of they say that is a demand to have a flip phone. And I don't know if I want to go back that far because trying to text. Can you remember trying to text on a flip phone? Oh, y-
that's such a long.
y-
It was. And matter of fact, yes, because I didn't like to text because it was not easy to do.
It was not easy. You
Uh-uh.
got to push,
Mm-mm.
put you. It was just too complicated for me, and
Too
that's why,
complicated.
and taking pictures with it, the camera was abysmal because it just was not. The tech had not caught up to it, but they sell in Los Angeles, they say they have a pretty good big market for dumb technology that is just basic. And I remember those digital cameras. And I remember the film cameras. They took some pretty
Mhm.
good pictures. I have to be honest with you. They did.
Let me tell you, I
Yeah.
I I just came across some old cameras, old tech, if you will, in my mom's house,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
it was an 8 millimeter camera and some old Polaroid camera.
Oh man. I
So
got
that made me think about that because now no one knows about even having a digital camera with them because it's in
uh
our phone.
It's in our phone.
It's in
Everything
our
is
phone.
in
Yeah.
right, right. But yeah, those old Polaroids, that's what about the instant camera?
Mhm,
The instant one that came out the bottom of the
mhm.
yeah, yeah, those didn't take too bad of pictures. I mean, but that was the instant, and just things had to technology had to catch up. But I really liked what they had to say that some people want to simplify and move away from um the smartphone, and texting is a challenge. So what is that going to do? That's going to reduce your screen time, your text time,
Yeah.
and having a dumb phone is, I think it has its advantages and disadvantages, but like I say, I'm not there yet. But it's just something to
Mhm.
think about. Would you want to sacrifice that? But there's a company that makes on the next clip, clip three, that
Okay.
has a dumb phone, and it just kind of better explains it all together. And I really
Okay.
like the way they presented it.
Okay.
Pure and simple phone that has the tools I need, but it avoids the distractions that I don't.
Right.
Turn it on and it has 9 apps and there's no app icons. It's just words
Oh,
and it's very
see how
peaceful. It's
blank
very
that
tranquil.
screen
We're
is?
asking
It's
this
nothing
critical
on there.
Oh
question:
yeah.
what's
There's
actually good for us? And that's
huh.
what we're putting on our phone instead of just
And
anything and
he
everything
says
that
something
might be
powerful here.
convenient for us, but it's actually sucking the life out of us.
Uh,
So why aren't the big phone companies also jumping on
it's
this trend?
Simply said, they built themselves on the attention economy. The App Store revenue for Apple is
billions of
billions
dollars,
of dollars. And Google, same thing, billions of dollars. If they were to come out with something
billions
like what we
of
had,
dollars.
it would cannibalize their market.
But he
Oh
says
wow.
something. He says something about, I don't know what jumped out at you or resonates with you, but he said the attention economy.
That's where I
And
was gonna go. Attention
oh,
economy.
okay, yeah,
Hmm.
it is. Can you believe that our time and attention is valuable? Or they want to frame it as a limited resource, um, and that's why marketers have jumped on it. But that's what jumped out at me. That
Hmm.
I think of limit of valuable resources as oil or water or gas or something from the earth, but it says our attention is a limited natural resource, and I'm like, oh, really?
In that
Oops.
clip when I was looking at that, he went on to say something like, because he's talking about like primarily Apple and Google, that
Mhm.
they don't mean to do that. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
It
Yes,
they
that's what he
do.
said. Yes, yes, they want you to stay on it as long as and feed the algorithm, and the
Hmm.
algorithm will feed you exactly what you need, or what you think that you want. Um, and it's strange. This is what I found perplexing is I will go to a site, like I will go to Macy's on YouTube or on my Google or something.
Hmm.
And guess what? That same advertisement will be on my Facebook page. It'll be on my Instagram page. It will be on my other Facebook page, and it's like, wow, I start getting advertisements from it. And
But
That
sometimes that stuff
concerns
is
me.
spooky because
It is.
not only that they're just reading and you're being tracked for the things that you look at and
Oh.
what you buy, but
Mhm.
I'm sure you've experienced it like a lot of people have, where you're thinking about something and then
Mhm.
the next thing you know, you get an advertisement for that thing. Now that's creepy.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that has happened, and I usually shut down and stop going clicking on sites. I
Yeah.
really have been mindful of not to click on things that, number 1, try to sell me something or, get me to spend money. I've been intentional not to do that, but
Hmm.
our our attention is a limited resource and they capitalize on it. And what did he say? They make billions of dollars.
Billions.
What if that all went away? And I mean, even the price of smartphones are just on the increase, and who knows what they're going to be in a couple of months. And
Oh,
uh,
Apple phones are going to be, first off, I
okay,
just have to disclose your Apple and Google,
as
not
Apple,
neither one are necessarily better than the other, but
what?
Apple is greedy ass. The greedy
Yes,
ass.
they are. They are. I have to say, and the product is relatively the same from my first introduction. I was Android
Okay.
forever. I was, and I was satisfied. And I told my sister I would never get the iPhone. And then I got an iPhone 10,
Okay.
and that was a wrap.
That was it.
And I've only bought 2 iPhones, so the 10 and the 14, which I have now. And if I can hold on to that one in forever, because I don't believe that I'm paying no 2,000, 3,000 times, but I'm not paying, unless they gotta come shut that one off, because that's enough. I
Oh,
what
you'll pay for it
I
when they
will.
hold on. You'll pay for it when they say we no longer support this phone.
Right, right.
You
Well,
can't get
I'll
you,
get me a track phone. Okay. Something basic phone because it all I need to do is talk and text, maybe.
yeah.
But
Okay.
um and would you ever go back to a flip phone? I want to backtrack. Do you think you would?
Listen, I was always raised to say, don't ever say what you ain't gonna do
Ain't
because
going
you
to.
always gonna end up doing it anyhow. But
Right.
I could not see myself rocking a flip phone. Okay, I
Okay.
couldn't. Now, who
Okay.
knows what lies ahead in the future?
Right, right,
But
right,
I
right,
can't see
right.
myself just doing a flip phone.
Right, right. But do you know, like, there was a trend that was trying to kind of gaining traction with some Gen Z people that would they were having flip phones. They were going to flip phones and trying to make it cool. There were some artists out there trying to make it cool, which yeah, it didn't catch on. I think that was maybe a year and a half ago. Year that
Hmm.
it didn't go anywhere
Didn't go nowhere.
because it's not. But
Mm-mm.
there was some guys. I looked at some video about after he had downgraded to a flip phone, and he really made some really good things, made sense about downgrading, and what it taught him and what he learned, and his I really resonated with what he was saying and why he did it, and I understand because he said it was ruining his life. I mean, it
How
was
old was
well,
he?
you'll see. You'll see.
But how old was
He was maybe before 25 at least.
ruining his life?
Ruined his life,
Okay,
ruined
okay.
it. I know. I mean, doesn't that seem just so colossal big?
Yeah,
But I can see that
okay.
it was ruining his life. But he downgraded it, and I'll let you
What
let
was
you
that?
hear what it said. I think it's 4.
Okay.
Why, in a world where technology is pretty much intertwined with everything we do, would I do this to myself?
Yes.
Well, the answer is pretty simple. This thing, it was killing my soul. It was the first thing
The first
I'd
thing I
look
did.
at when I woke up. and the last thing I'd look at before I went to bed. It filled the boring moments and even the exciting ones sometimes.
Look at that scene, man. That, all of it seems like some of that is ruined, just with the phones. I know we want to capture certain moments in our lives and everything, but we I don't know. What are your thoughts? Those
I
I'd agree with what he
well,
said.
well, I can understand. I don't understand that feel or that need, but I can understand that for him, whoever he is, uh,
Mhm.
the way he thinks, maybe his
Mhm.
outlook in life, that
Mhm.
he came to a realization that being attached to the phone. I mean, because listen, um, most people, most children that are born within I'm just saying the past 5 years, probably a little bit longer, they are born with a tablet. They know how to get to their favorite YouTube channel. They know how to pull up that video. They know how to swipe. They know how to do that. So they live with that. Now, that's probably normalized. But for some people, like this guy that probably seems to be sensitive to that and some other stuff, and maybe he likes more nature and stuff like that, he
Mhm.
sees that as killing him
Mhm. Right, right,
or stealing
right.
his soul or whatever. He said, yeah. So I
Right,
can get
right.
that.
Right. And you brought up the children that are they're bought that's what they're given. They're not given a pacifier. They're given
Mm-mm.
a telephone,
Hmm.
or a tablet,
Yep.
and you work it out and this pacifies you. And I don't believe that is best for a brain, a developing brain. Um and developmentally this is I just believe that it's and teaching your child and building pathways in their brain and developing pathways where it's that dopamine, it's that constant dopamine. Because I teach children, and when they have, even today, they have finished an assignment and they're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What are we doing next? And I'm like, that's that dopamine kind of, overstimulation,
Yeah.
never have to be bored or never have to, and we talked about bored.
Is
Yeah,
is
and
that what
never.
he's talking about in those in this?
I think that I think that it could be, because he said the first thing that he does in the morning, grabs his phone. The last thing that he does at night, he's on his phone. That's some, having to be stimulated all the time, or
Okay.
to try to fill those empty spaces.
Like
Um,
taking as you mentioned in the very beginning, the amount of time that you're on per day.
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And I think he said that he was on 5 hours a day on his device, but his screen time. Oh, yeah, he talks about his screen time in clip 5, and I think that he kind of puts some perspective on how he does that.
But I probably use my phone for less than an hour a day. Compared to the 6-7 hours I had used on my smartphone, that's an amazing improvement. You're basically stealing 5 hours back on your day. And these 5 hours can be spent doing something more
Wow.
intentional and meaningful than scrolling through TikTok for 4 hours.
So and okay, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Those are fighting words for some people. Not
Those are
scrolling
fighting words,
TikTok.
man. They
Come on
are.
now.
I know. And I know I just, as a person that wants to be more productive and realizing that, 5 hours on the device is just not, instead of being a consumer, and instead of creating more.
On the flip
Okay.
side, I'm
Okay.
standing up for the
Oh,
people
okay.
that
Okay.
I'm wondering, is there, for some people, they can be on their phones and maybe there's a debate here and be somewhat productive. Like my phone is with me the majority of the day from the time I
Okay.
wake up,
Okay.
from the time that I go to bed. Sometimes, right? And if I don't have it near me, I'm looking for it. And I have it when I'm watching TV, I'm playing solitaire or something. It's with me a lot.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I could not say. Now here's the funny thing in that. There
Okay.
are sometimes I'm getting much better. If I've left my house and I've left my phone, I used to turn around. Maybe I'm a mile or two. I'll leave it now.
Okay.
So
All right.
in that
That's
respect, I can leave it.
okay. Well, this week I left my phone at the house, but I had to go back. I hadn't left the house yet, but I had to get it because I'm on the highway. So, for that reason, but I have left it, and not gone back to get it, and just I really wasn't tracking how I felt without it, but now since it is kind of like in my top of mind to me to see how much my screen time is, I think I'll leave it if I'm here in town. But if I'm going to work or highway, take it. I
I
mean,
don't
I'll
want to
come.
divert the conversation here, but I have a question because I know there's another clip, and then uh, but
Oh man, okay, yes,
but
yes.
but I'm wondering if the way would you be somebody that could live out in the wilderness?
Me?
Yeah,
Could I? Yes,
really.
yes.
We have to talk because I'm finding out a whole lot about you.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe that's
So
something to talk about. I'm curious about that
it is.
because
Yeah.
the fact that I mean, not just because you're considering really downgrading your reliance on
Uh,
smartphones and stuff like that, but
uh
that ability to cut yourself off.
Off.
Yeah,
And that is leads me
in
to
a healthy way.
in a healthy way. Exactly. Because we do need social interaction and community. I understand that. And
Mhm.
I need that. And I'm human. I need that. Sometimes. And then sometimes I need some solitude
Yeah,
and some peace to decompress and everything. But I mean, that's why I'm learning to grow vegetables. And oh man, the next time that we talk about growing, I mean, I'm really super excited where I am and with that.
yeah,
But yeah, so I can be sustainable. I don't want to pay. I was at the grocery store today and I saw a watermelon for $11. A watermelon for $11. That's why I have my raised bed in the backyard getting prepared and my little plot that's for my fall garden
yeah,
because I can't do it.
yeah.
I can't. But would I be able to sustain that and live? I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But the last clip, let's try to wrap this up. He just really puts his all of it just wraps it up together, his downgrading outro, and
Okay.
he says what I need to say.
And at the end of the day, we live in such a beautiful world with so many cool things to see and so many amazing things to do. And getting rid of my smartphone has made me less distracted from all this beauty. So I'll leave you with this. Why live in a virtual world when the real one is already so beautiful?
I don't know. And I know that may sound I can see it on your face. It's like, really? But that works for him.
It works
And
for
this
him.
world
For
is
him.
it is beautiful. And and I mean, we could have conversations about how we are in the house, or we are just in our own little play world, a world, and not out exploring. And like and I just think about the kids that are not outside and um
Well,
experiencing what we have.
life,
But
but I
life.
get. I would love to speak with him because he he has just a different way of viewing
He just
things.
has a different way.
Right? He feels like he needs to put his phone down. For me,
Mhm.
I
You
from
don't
the invent of smartphones, when
uh,
the camera in the smartphone is has been better than a digital phone for a very long time. It's except for the very expensive ones. But
Right.
the camera on my Pixel 9 XL Pro is
Uh-huh.
phenomenal. And when
Uh-huh.
I go out in the world, I take photos. So for
Right.
me, I
Oh,
experience the world, but I experience it with my camera and
camera
taking photos.
photos.
Yeah.
I understand.
Now it's
And
behind the camera and
right.
with my eyes.
Right. I understand. And I understand what he is saying as
Yeah.
well. Why, limit yourself when this beautiful world is out here. And
Yeah.
that helped him really downgrade. He doesn't say that he has, I think it was just like an experiment for him. I don't know if he has a smartphone now, but what would you do? What do you have to say about downgrading from a smartphone to a dumb phone?
So
I'm not all the way what?
Judge Judy says no.
It's just something to think about, and
But for you, you're contemplating.
just 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 and we'd like to hear what your thoughts are about if you would downgrade. And
Oh, you weren't talking to me. You was talking to
no, I was talking to
oh.
you too and everybody that's watching.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Would you do that? Because hey, some of you may have questions and have considered, it's all about, for me, it was about the screen time and to being attached to that device. And would I do go that far? But I don't know. It's up in the air. We'll see. I do a little more research and we'll see. Hey,
Absolutely. I was
absolutely.
thinking we need to talk about the beautiful world. I think that's a conversation that we could have because there's a lot to say about.
The beautiful world.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got you.
All right. Well,
All
Phil,
right, man. All
we'll
right.
talk again.
Till the next time.
Okay.
Together we lift our voices and let them ring.